I'm Sep Niakan, a veteran real estate agent here in Miami and the founding broker and CEO of Blackbook Properties, as well as the best South Florida real estate website, condoblackbook.com. We're almost halfway through what's been a whirlwind year in the real estate world, nationally and locally. And we're coming to the end of another quarter when we release our exclusive quarterly reports for the Miami luxury condo market, which, by the way, if you don't know about those, check these links in the description. We've got some of the most in-depth analyses of the Miami condo market. But before we get all of that Q2 and first half data, I thought it might be a good time to give you some market insight and get into what I'm talking about with a lot of my clients and other brokers here in Miami. I've been having lots of interesting conversations with my clients and other brokers this year about what's been going on in this shifting and dynamic Miami market. And we're going to sit down today with one of my colleagues to have a similar conversation for your benefit so you can get some valuable insights about what's next in the Miami market and what's happening today.
What are we seeing in the overall Miami real estate market right now?
Miami real estate market has really been a best way I can explain it as a mixed bag. On one hand, you have pre-construction projects that are getting announced fairly often, a lot of new, different, unique kinds of product that buyers are very receptive and they're selling out in pretty fairly rapid clips. On the other hand, you have the older condo buildings that, because of the new inspection requirements and the new faster recertification requirements, are going through a little bit of a challenge where their expenses are going up and also buyers are a little more reluctant to purchase into them. So they're not faring as well. And then there's, in between, you have luxury product where they're larger units, really well done, really high luxury, are still also faring well. And then you have investor product, smaller units that have historically been designed for renting out either long-term or short-term, having some cracks in terms of the buyer demand supply sort of combo.
How does that affect the balance of the market in general? Are we in a buyer's market? Are we in a seller's market? Are we still neutral?
Depending on the sub-market, we're definitely, for condos, in a balanced market or a buyer's market. I would say most sub-markets are heading towards buyer's market. It's interesting because one of the reasons I feel that that's happening is that there's so many amazing new pre-construction projects available that it's actually pulling from the resale market. Otherwise, if we didn't have as many projects out in the pre-construction, I actually think that we would still be in a very strong seller's market because there's still a significant amount of demand. The difference is, because of now the supply and the pace of sales, buyers are being a little more price sensitive and more picky as to what they want and what they're willing to pay for it. And sellers are being much more flexible than before and much more ready to make a deal.
Does lending play into this? What's happening with lending?
Lending remains strong. Of course, interest rates are higher than they have been in the past few years, so that does play into buyers' decisions because of it changes their budgets, right? What I do see is that because of the new state laws and the reserve requirements and the inspection requirements, it's really important to work with a lender who understands the local market and has flexible loan programs more than ever before. So if you typically go, for example, to a bigger bank, the big banks don't know how to play in this market, and it's a lot harder for them to get to closing than a regional bank or a local bank that does a lot of business already in Miami and sort of knows the game.
How is all of this impacting sales and prices?
Well, Q1 started pretty soft. However, when we got into Q2, we had a really nice increase in sales. If you compare Q2 this year to Q2 last year, we're doing better this year than last year. And if you compare prices, the price per square foot and the sale prices are both up as well.
So if demand is strong, who are the buyers in Miami right now? Who's buying?
There's folks that come to me and say, Sep, the party's over, right? People aren't moving here anymore. And that really can't be farther from the truth. Now there's a very strong and steady stream of buyers coming. Of course, they're coming because of the weather and because of the taxes, but also post-pandemic, a lot of businesses have chosen to move their offices, their main offices or satellite offices to Miami. And that's creating additional employment, so they're moving for that. And also, of course, the flexible work from home environments continue to enable people to choose a wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous, and dynamic place like Miami as their home and still be able to work for companies all over the world. Citadel actually announced that they're moving their entire operation here, and recently they actually upped the ante and are taking even more space than they originally anticipated.
So is that changing what luxury means in Miami and price points?
I definitely think it changes what luxury means in Miami for sure. It takes luxury to more an international viewpoint, an international perspective. Luxury is comfort, it's convenience, it's service. And where you see that take place in Miami differently than before is, first of all, $1 million property used to be considered luxury here. Now, depending on who you ask, 2.5 million, 4 million would really be considered luxury. But when you're actually talking about a lifestyle and a home, we're talking about developers coming out with much bigger spaces, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom condominiums, a 2-bedroom condo that's 2,000 square feet versus the ones that they built in the previous cycles were 1,000 square feet, 1,200 square feet. So you're seeing luxury come in the aspect of space itself. But then you go into balconies, and you have balconies that are truly livable, where you can sit on a cool Miami night and have dinner and have that open space. You have high ceilings, so you can feel like a king when you walk into your property. And then you have service, a concierge that makes you feel at home when you walk in, that asks if you need anything. What also represents the new era of Miami is all of the new pre-construction condos that fit what we're talking about in terms of this luxury presence, but with it bring brands like St. Regis and Ritz and Four Seasons. And these are not hotels anymore. These are now private boutique luxury condos with true luxury service that people can feel certain about because it's attached to brands they know and they've experienced. And that's also what luxury is, which is a specific kind of experience.
Is there ever a best time to buy in Miami?
Well, historically, summer and fall are probably the best times to buy in Miami because you have the least amount of competition when it comes to condos. Single-family homes, different story. If you're a seller, it's the opposite. The ideal times to sell are typically the first half of the year, but Miami is no longer what it used to be, where it's a high season and a dead season, or a high season and a low season. It's a year-round market. So as a buyer or seller, you're always going to have opportunity. It's just a matter of understanding and navigating with that understanding. For example, as a seller, your property might sit a little longer during the summer and fall. It doesn't mean that it's not going to sell. It just might be selling at a different pace.
If you compare available product, already built product versus pre-construction product, are there any differences there?
There's definitely very distinct differences. First of all, on average, the pre-construction properties that are built for primary and second homeowners are significantly larger, number one. Number two, there is a shortage of high-quality luxury condos that allow Airbnb or shorter-term rentals. And so there's a new wave of product coming out designed for second homers, lifestyle folks, and investors who want to have a place in Miami that possibly they can use sometimes and then rent out when they're not using it, or even rent out year-round, that offers a much more luxury experience when it comes to short-term stay.
So if you're an investor right now, there's a lot of opportunity in Miami? Is that what I'm hearing?
There's definitely a lot of opportunity if you are an investor looking for condos that allow short-term rentals and you want to get into a more luxury, newer, fresher, modern experience than the existing product that we have today, and very limited product that we have today.
If I am an owner of an existing property right now, what should I be thinking about if I'm considering selling? What does all of this data and these trends mean for sellers?
The best way I can explain it is that the days of having an average property and expecting top dollar for it are over, at least for now. The best advice I can give is upgrade your place, invest in it, make it incomparable to other properties, differentiate it, and by doing so, you put yourself back in the driver's seat of what the price is that you're able to command. Otherwise, the other advice I would give is then be flexible. However, it does matter what submarket you're in. There's certain submarkets that are still very strong and other ones that are much softer than you might expect. So the best thing to do is reach out to an experienced, trusted agent and figure out what's going on in your case and get guidance from there. And if you don't have an agent, I'll be happy to help.
What do these trends halfway through 2024 mean for the average real estate buyer in Miami?
I think this is a really wonderful opportunity for buyers for a few reasons. One, they have more inventory to choose from. Two, they have less competition and sellers that are being more flexible than before. If you know what you want, make offers, there are opportunities and deals to be had out there. In terms of how financing might impact things, buyers during the seller's market who were financed were having a really hard time finding properties. Now, there's about a little over half of the properties in Miami sell for cash, which means just a little less than half of the properties in Miami sell financed. And so finance deals are much more common now, and you have excellent opportunity. You're not going to be in bidding wars a lot of the times. And so you're able to command a great property at a reasonable price, and just make sure you're working with the right lender so that when you do get under contract, you can get to closing. There's a lot more we can talk about today, but we're gonna have to save that for another video. Or if you want to talk the Miami and South Florida real estate market, feel free to email me, call me, or set a meeting up with me. And one more thing, if you're thinking of selling your condo, especially in a buyer's market like this, you're gonna wanna work with a professional who's got a lot of experience. We've sold hundreds of condos and we can sell yours too. Give us a call. Thanks for watching and have a great day.